Hello everyone, this is Joker and welcome to my channel and another review of the Formula 1 Grand Prix, this time the Paul Ricart or the French Grand Prix. And wow, I always had the impression this track is a snooze fest, but this race it was a real spectacular one. I even dare to say at this point it's maybe even the best race of the season. Maybe not so much of spectacle. It's not the most spectacular race of the season, but the tension and what happened, I'm shaking my head in disbelief. I still need to work out just what happened. This race, just wow. Just wow. I didn't follow the free practices. I have seen the qualification and that was, well, mostly dominated by Max Verstappen, with a crazy Q1, 2 red flags, which was lucky for one, unlucky for some others. Lance Stroll really lucked out there by the second red flag of Mick Schumacher, but he locked in because of his own mistake. Will that bring back the conversation if you benefit of your own red flag? Will that have any consequences? Not at this point, and I doubt it will. But yeah, Max Verstappen on pole position, Lewis starting second, Bottas starting third, and Sergio Perez starting fourth. And those are the drivers that are really important for this race. There are a few other important drivers, like the both McLaren drivers, and even the Aston Martin and Ferrari drivers. Yes, I know that's almost all teams, but all in varying degrees. Because Ferrari, good starting positions, good racing, but no pace whatsoever. Where were they? Seriously, where were they? I am not even sure if they finished in the points. And then Aston Martin, they did it very well. Lance getting back to the 4 even. So decent drive from them. McLaren, they were on fire. It almost like the two of them were a pack hunting for other drivers until the first pit stop, that is, but still it is good to see Ricciardo doing well and getting back into his old form. That's a good way of wording it. And Norris doing very well as well. And then the rest of the race. Before going to the real deal, there are a few things I want to say about this track and about this race. I expected a lot of controversy, or at least talking points about track limits, and there were not really any track limits talk. There were a few drivers under investigation for it, and I have mostly seen no further investigation necessary. I have not seen the last point on that in the investigations, what the point would have been. But in the end, if it would have been anything, it would not have mattered, because it would have been a 5-second penalty, and he was more than 5 seconds in front of the driver behind him. So I'm actually surprised there. no DNFs, which is not that surprising, but in the history of Formula 1, this is only the 10th race with no DNFs. So on that point, it is kinda special. So yeah, normally this track is boring in my mind. It wasn't. I don't hate this track. I want to point that out. I don't hate this track. It is a test track, and in my opinion, I would much rather see this track being used for actual winter testing instead of Barcelona. I hope it might actually be used for that in the future. Not only because it's a technical track, it's a track that has various layouts, and they can even practice wet weather races, which would be not a bad thing. But on to the main menu. The main fight between Mercedes and Red Bull, between Hamilton and Verstappen. Verstappen starting on pole position. He had a good start. Lewis had a arguably better start, but Max kept it in front, except he could not make the turn because of too cold tires. So he went on straight, basically what we saw Lewis do last race, but less spectacular, also because of the track. So Lewis took the lead quite quickly. And I must say, after that, it was kinda tenuous, because seeing how close they all were and stuff like that. But it was not the most exciting. But it had tension, good tension, seeing how far they could get together, and then DRS and stuff like that. It was interesting, really interesting. And then the pit stops started to happen. And oh boy, that was something special. Red Bull made terrible pit stops. I mean, really terrible pit stops for their doing. They were really slow in their pit stops. They were still on point with 2.5. But knowing that they can do 1.9, 2.5 is slow for them. But Max went in, a round later Lewis went in, and Max just undercutted them precisely, perfectly. And then the real drama, interesting, started. They quickly started shouting that they could not finish the race going on that pace. It started with Max Verstappen saying that, and basically Lewis said the same, followed by Bottas. If it was just Lewis saying it, you would think, okay, that is just mind games. And well, Max Verstappen doesn't do those kind of mind games, so it's obviously you could believe him. It took a lot of fighting to get Lewis out of DRS range, and all those rounds that he was in DRS range, it was really nail-biting tight. Incredible driving from both drivers. Even Bottas, who managed to keep up, and well, Perez driving number 4 was way back. But that, in the end, played a very important role. Max Verstappen and his team decided to do a second pit stop. And that really put Mercedes on the back foot. They needed to calculate, will it be dangerous, can they go on, because at the moment that they were in clean air, everything changes for the tires. Everything. So at the one moment you say we cannot go until the end of the race with this, can mean something changes. We can go to the end of the race with it. And in the end, Mercedes did not do a second pit stop. Was that the right call? Obviously, in hindsight, it was the right call for Red Bull and Max Verstappen to do that second pit stop. Perez did a very late pit stop, by the way. He had quite a lead on that with that after everything and back to fourth. So he is not really in contention for that, but he did a one-stopper, Max did a two-stopper. Bottas complained about that they should have done a two-stopper like he said before the race. And a lot of calculations going on behind scenes. A lot of, yeah, you can do this, it will be painful radio messages, especially on the painful side of Mercedes, which was funny to see them in the underdog for real for once. And yeah, one more round to go, second to last round. Max Verstappen overtook Lewis Hamilton, back for the lead. And well, the last lap was a breeze for Max Verstappen, and even Sergio Perez managed to overtake Bottas for third place. It was such a crazy race, very nail-biting, interesting, tension. I'm still recovering from this race. It is wow. And now for 3 races in a row, Mercedes hasn't had a win. And that does not happen often, that it takes so many races for not have Mercedes car to win. I've got the stat line for that, but it is very special. And now for the 3rd race in a row, a non-Mercedes driver is leading the championship in 7 to 8 years. And it's the first time a Dutch driver is so far in the lead. I mean, it's Red Bull really is on point this time. It is really close, so damn close, and that's good. I mean, yes, Max Verstappen, or any driver for that, rather wants to know if he wins the championship in race 2. But us, the fans, we want to see races like this, where it is decided in the second or the last second to last lap, who decides the victory. And I really hope the championship comes to the last or second to last ish races. I mean, if this is an indication of the season, this is the best season probably ever? No, not ever. But it is the best season in 7 to 8 years. For sure, by far. So far. So to give this race a number, I want to say solid 10 out of 10. Especially because it's so much tension, excitement, in a way, for Paul Ricart. I loved this race. I really loved it. Hope you all did too. Leave your comments down below. And yeah, that was it for today. I'm still stunned by this race. Everybody, stay safe, take care, and see you all in the next one. Bye bye.